Prismatic Evolutions has sold out immediately, though before we get into the good, the bad, and the ugly, I am gifting this near mint Flareon EX from XY Generations. Now this is a super unique Flareon card that released all the way back in 2016. Now if I reply to your comment with this Sylveon emoji, then well done, you've won the card. And if it is your first time here, my name is Phil. Please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel to be kept up to date with Pokemon investing discussion. Okay, so with Prismatic Evolutions, a few things people want answers to, right? And number one is, will this set be bigger than Evolving Skies? And number two, will people be able to actually get the product on release? And I think these are very valid questions, especially since the Pokemon Center ETB sold out within 10 hours, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Though I think this will be restocked heavily, which I'm going to explain more about in a second. Though if you are looking at keeping up to date with the restock, PokeNotify is a fantastic tool for this. So today's video is actually sponsored by PokeNotify. And it's funny because after the last shout out I did in a previous video, they were just so grateful for how many people jumped on board. So PokeNotify is a free Discord channel which alerts its users of restocks and price drops. PokeNotify has scripts running constantly that immediately alert specific channels when a restock happens, and it covers major retailers including Best Buy, Walmart, along with the Pokemon Center. We all know how quickly Pokemon 151 sells out, and I can imagine Prismatic Evolutions will be the same, so it's great to have a tool like this at your disposal. So if you're looking to stay up to date with restocks, PokeNotify is a great tool, and feel free to learn more about PokeNotify and their business within the description of this video. Now, I want to address the elephant in the room, which has a lot of people up in arms, and that is about the Prismatic Evolutions Pokemon Center ETBs selling out within 10 hours. Now, I want to let you know that I wouldn't really worry if you missed out, as I have full confidence this will be restocked. Now, obviously for a lot of you who watch my channel, you do know I'm a marketing professional and I've got a lot of years and experience in marketing, so I want to get a few things out of the way regarding this. Firstly, Pokemon have all the data, all the analytics, and they have so much knowledge relating to the popularity of Eeveelutions, and they already know that this set is going to be incredibly popular. Now, I obviously don't want to assume any intent on Pokemon's behalf, as they may have just not anticipated the demand, though I do want to explain a marketing concept known as scarcity marketing. Now, what this technique does is it taps into psychological principles of scarcity, right? The idea goes that we as humans place higher value on things that are limited or harder to obtain, and this effect creates a sense of immediate urgency into buyers to ensure that they actually act swiftly, and it's the reason why it's so powerful, because it effectively removes the decision-making process. So if a buyer wanted to buy a product, but they were sitting on the fence, when scarcity marketing is applied, it essentially pushes the buyer out of that inertia and makes them act immediately when the next opportunity arises. Now, obviously, it could be the case that Pokemon just underestimated the popularity and the demand that this set would have, and then this took them by surprise. Maybe it broke records for pre-order numbers. I mean, that's all possible, right? Though at the same time, it also does make Eeveelutions hold their position as the king within Pokemon Collectibles. So, you know, when something is sold out, it creates a very powerful effect, right? I mean, not just for purchasing, but also for the status of that brand. I mean, for example, right, when PS5 was announced, that immediately got sold out, and it made the PS5 be seen as the king of the consoles. And then it just became an obvious better option over the Xbox. However, now look at the PS5 Pro that just got announced. Because the PS5 Pro didn't sell out on day one, articles were already being created that it was a flop and that no one wants it. And then this actually creates a negative perception on the product. So it does make you think that if in the future, when Sony releases the PS6, will they intentionally make sure that it's sold out on pre-release to ensure it generates headlines and get people speaking about it? Eeveelution selling out straight away upholds their reputation as the collectible frontrunners. So I mean, my marketing brain does usually go to that place thinking of brand and purchasing psychology, though at the same time that makes me not get too worried when items sell out, because I do know that they will likely be restocked, as it does generate a lot of headlines. However, I do believe that Prismatic Evolutions will be great for the hobby. Now, a little quick note that PokeBeach have actually revealed the special illustration rares from the set that came from the poster collection, which I will be uncovering a bit later on in the video, so keep an eye out for that. Though in saying that, let's dive deep into the set and see what's actually being offered, because it is pretty incredible. Alrighty, we're looking at Prismatic Evolutions. Now, I do have to admit that this set has really now turned the fire up within the franchise, within the TCG. This is obviously now coming out guns blazing. Now, here's the thing, right? Evolving Skies, when it came out, I don't know if the Eeveelution aura around it was that established. I feel now, because of Evolving Skies and everything that happened with Evolving Skies and all the Eeveelutions and how everyone got obsessed, I feel Pokemon now have this golden platter that's been handed to them, and I feel now with Prismatic Evolutions, they have literally put this key in, they've turned it, and they've opened up the floodgates to see what's going to be possible with this set. So I'm just looking at the booster packs right now, and I gotta admit that they do have a unique feel about them, and they're obviously using their Eeveelutions full guns blazing. I mean, you know, Evolving Skies could have also been interpreted as a Rayquaza set, kind of like Roaring Skies. Though with Prismatic Evolutions, they've really established that it is an Eevee themed set, and the booster packs do look gorgeous. So, you know, I think my favorite one for sure is the Umbreon and the Espeon, with the terrestrialized crowns that a lot of people aren't too much of a fan of. You know, personally, I do really like terrestrialized because I think it makes card artworks look awesome. Also for competitive play, when you actually play the games, it's really fun. And also, I do think it gives, you know, Gen 9 its own brand identity. You know what I mean? It really makes it like when I see the crystals and I see the hats and I see terrestrialized, I immediately think, Scarlet and Violet. That is so Scarlet and Violet. So I do think it's okay, right? Now, with Prismatic Evolutions, right here, we've got over 175 cards in the set. Now, you do have 32 special illustration rares within the set. Now, obviously, this is going to be a really, really in-demand set, just having that. So that does leave a few other Pokemon that can get illustration rares and special illustration rares. Here's the other thing, and this is where I think the set has just turned the heat on. Like I said before, that they really did turn the heat on. It's with the Masterball Reverse Holo cards within the set. So if you are new to collecting, if you don't know what Masterball Reverse Holos are, they were introduced in the Japanese Pokemon 151 set, and they were only for the Japanese set, but there was a one per box, there was a chance to pull a Masterball Reverse Holo, which is a very unique Master Ball etched in the card background. And look, sometimes when you pull them, you can't even tell, like you have to sometimes look, they are quite specific how they pop out. But you know, once you catch it, you can obviously see that there is a Master Ball pattern over the regular Pokeball pattern on the card. Now, these are obviously very desired because of their rarity, and if they follow how Japanese 151 works, it is one per box, which I would assume that you get one per ETB, though we don't have any details on that for now. Though this is also the first time that we're getting a Master Ball Reverse Holo in an English set. And I think that's a real big step up, because one of the big complaints within the TCG community was that English 151 didn't get Master Ball Reverse Holos, and that was quite a big oversight. I do think that that makes the Japanese set of Pokemon 151 objectively better, because you do get more value for what you pull. You're guaranteed to get the Master Ball Reverse Holo. I mean, even a Jigglypuff sells for a nice amount. I mean, it does make it far better of a purchase. The fact that we're getting this is also gonna make this an investable set. People sometimes get, Phil, you can't say that before the set releases, but you know, they really did put a lot of effort in this set. Mind you, you do get the Eeveelutions, and on top of that, you now have Master Ball Reverse Holos in the set. It seems they're really, really saying, hey, Prismatic Evolutions is gonna be one of the greatest sets in Pokemon's history. Now, moving forward here, I'm looking at the ETB, and of course, you've got Eevee on the box, a nice white background with the terrestrialized crown on top of it, and it's got the Prismatic Evolution. This is the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box, which of course has sold out, but nonetheless, I hope that the regular ETBs are quite available as well. I do think that this set has broken the record for how many people are just talking about it. Literally, I posted a video even the other day, and because I didn't make a video straight away, you know, people were like, hey, Phil, where's your Prismatic Evolutions video? I was like, geez, man, there's so much demand for this set. And of course, you do get the Eevee sleeves as well, which are pretty cool. So a little pro tip that if you do open the box and you just want to hunt cards, you know, this is a great way to, you know, sell some of these things, you know, keep them packaged, sell off the sleeves if you don't want to keep them. You know, you can make a little bit of your cost back with these, especially these. I do think that these will sell quite quickly. It's obviously Eevee, really loved. Pretty cool as well. And of course, you do have the Eevee promo card that's inside the Elite Trainer box. Now, of course, the Pokemon Center stamped version. If you did watch my previous video talking about Pokemon Center promo cards, they obviously have quite a high premium. Now, there's a lot of people going around and thinking that this is going to be a very expensive card in PSA 10. And if it does follow any of the trajectory of the other cards like Charmander or the Snorlax that's booming at the moment, then it is very likely it will be expensive. I mean, it's hard to kind of say it won't be, considering the fact that the ETB has sold out. Obviously, a lot of people are going to be waiting for the restock and they're going to jump on that. But, you know, seeing how in demand it is very likely that this will fetch a high price. It's kind of hard to deny the facts. Though I do think the promo is really cool, very cute. You know, sleeping Pokemon. We do have a few sleeping Pokemon that do quite well. We have the Raichu and also Pikachu. Now, in terms of the special illustration rares from the set that we can see, now obviously the photos that I'm looking at the moment are quite poor quality and I can't really make a good judgment out of it. I can only see the general artistic theme of the cards. I'd really love to see more clearer pictures before making any definitive decisions on what I feel about these cards. On a general look, I think that they really do follow a strong artistic theme that's incredibly cohesive with all the Eeveelutions. Having the terastallized phenomenon really makes the cards look great. I'm looking at all of these and they all have their own unique aspect about them just from first impressions. And I'm talking purely from the image that I can see here. Currently, my favorite is Glaceon and Sylveon, and of course, Umbreon is a close third. But nonetheless, I do think it's gonna be interesting the prices of these cards individually. What's so amazing about Prismatic Evolution and what we can already tell so far, it's very likely that each of these Eeveelution special illustration rares will be worth quite a bit. They will hold their value. I mean, if we look at Evolving Skies, even the V cards, you know, they were approaching $100 each earlier this year. It's very likely that a lot of these Eeveelution cards will be quite pricey, and that is going to do a lot for the sealed product of Prismatic Evolutions. Pull rates, we don't know yet, but that's going to be super interesting to see what happens with these cards. Another thing to note as well is how well will they grade. So Evolving Skies actually grades really well. If you're unaware, you know, it's something like in the Moonbreon, it's something like over 70% chance of getting a PSA 10. Will these all be the same? You know, if they grade well as well, that's also another factor that comes into consideration. Personally, I'm a little bit worried on how expensive some of these cards can get, just knowing the Eevee fans and knowing how much in demand they'll be. And it's going to be really interesting what the market decides the chase card is going to be. Because when we look at Moonbreon, right? Yes, Moonbreon is an Umbreon and it's an amazing chase card and whatnot. But again, the artwork is just out of this world as well. So what's going to be really interesting right now is to see what the market decides the chase card can be. Will it just be a carbon copy and paste kind of, Evolving Skies, Umbreon was the chase card, so now for Prismatic Evolutions, it's also going to be Umbreon as well? Is the market going to just follow that same trend? Or will a Sylveon be the chase card? Will the Espeon become the most desired card? We will not know that until the set releases. And don't forget as well with Evolving Skies, when Evolving Skies came out, everyone loved the Umbreon, but everyone thought the Rayquaza would be the most expensive card. But as time went on, the Umbreon just blew it out the water. Something similar can happen with this as well. Like they said, there was 32 special illustration rares. So, you know, the question is, are we just going to get more different versions of Eeveelutions as special illustration rares? Or will other Pokemon fill those shoes? And will there be maybe another Pokemon that comes out and it's also going to be competing as a top chase card? So with all that said, it seems likely that Prismatic Evolutions will likely be the biggest set of 2025 and it will overtake Pokemon 151. Though with all that said, it is getting quite crazy with the amount of sets coming out, and it does bring up the question on what's the best way to collect Pokemon cards on a budget. Well, I answer that within this video right here. Within this video, I look over the best budget tips when it comes to Pokemon collecting. If you love collecting Pokemon cards, but you obviously need to stick to a budget, then I recommend you click that video that's appearing right now on screen, and I'll see you there.